Hey guys, this is Nick from forexfornoobs.com with my midday analysis. If you enjoy this analysis and my other videos, hit the subscribe button below this video. Subscribing to my YouTube channel gives you an instant notification whenever I add a new video. Also, please hit the like button below if you find this video useful. So before I start the analysis, I want to explain how it works so you can actually use it in your trading. On most Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, I hold a live analysis session for my Forex Mastermind students. These sessions are recorded and posted to YouTube. I say most because some days I'm busy and other days I'm not trading, and I have a rule: when I'm not trading, I do not post analysis. In the analysis, I look for price action reversal setups on around 10 to 20 pairs that I'm currently trading. I check every time frame for every pair, taking a systematic approach to doing analysis. Personally, I do this analysis several times per day, but only the midday session is recorded, as most setups are spotted then. So what are setups? A reversal setup occurs when price stalls at an area of support resistance and a transition of power occurs, from buyers to sellers or from sellers to buyers. I wait for price to approach these areas and spot potential setups. But these setups are not actual trades. When I share a setup on this analysis, it doesn't mean I'm entering the trade right away. Setups are just setups, and many setups do not trigger, so they never actually become trades. But some of them do, of course, and some of them become trades. To understand this, you have to know a little bit about my strategy, which I share for free on forexfornoobs.com, and there's a link to the strategy also below. I use 4 different tags in the name of these analysis videos. The tags are in brackets at the end of the name. It's important to know these tags just so you understand what is in the video. So if you see no setups, that means there are no setups today, obviously. If you see upcoming setups on, that means there are no setups, but I have spotted some very strong support resistance areas, which may lead to setups later in the day. So that could be anywhere between a few hours to a whole day. And if it's tagged with setups on, that means there are setups today, and I'm sharing potential trades in the video itself. So let's get started with the analysis. So today is Tuesday, the 16th of May, 2017, and the time is 14:02 here in the UK. You're looking at an AUD CAD daily chart. In today's analysis, we're going to be looking at all the pairs I have on this list here. Well, almost all of them. Probably not every single one, because a lot of these pairs I don't really trade, like CHF JPY, for example, and AUD CHF to an extent I don't really like that much. We're going to be looking for reversal trades. Now, just a quick update on last week's trade. Last week I shared a trade with you guys in this analysis on the forum and on YouTube also. GBP JPY short trade. And I said that I would be closing out before the weekend with a risk to reward ratio of around 1.5. Said I'd be closing out because we had the G7 meetings on Friday. I didn't want to hold through the G7 meetings. It did end up moving a little lower than my target, which is fine. I mean, you know, that happens. But I still think it was a good decision to exit before the G7 meetings. Could have easily moved the other way. So yeah, that trade was closed out profitably. Had you held it for a little bit longer, it would have been even more profitable. You would have hit a risk to reward ratio of 2, but now it's retraced and now it's kind of like just moving around this area. So it was definitely a good idea to close out at 1.5 or at 2. Shouldn't have held it anywhere beyond that. That's the thing with counter trend reversals. You know, when you're trading a counter trend reversal, your target, it's safer to have a smaller target. So this is definitely a counter trend reversal. You know, definitely. If you look at the 12-hour or even the daily, there's no denying that we have a strong bullish trend here. I mean, it's kind of obvious, really. So when you're countering such a strong trend, having smaller targets is generally a good idea. Now, obviously, you could enter this trade hoping to catch the turn of this trend, because this trend is dying and it could be going all the way back down to here. That's possible. And you can manage a trade in a way that you could capture that ride back down. So, you know, you could exit part of your position at your first target, adjust your stop loss, etc. I'm not going to go into the details in this analysis because that's not what this is about. So you can manage the trade in that way. And I was planning on doing that, but you know, the G7 meetings, I just thought it's not worth the risk. Especially lately, we've been seeing some pretty big gaps due to current political climate. So I didn't want to risk staying during the G7 meetings and having a huge gap all the way up to, you know, here at market open. So yeah, I closed out at 1.5, but I'm happy with that. Nice little profitable trade to add to the current streak I'm in since last week, since the week before last week, where I shared those other awesome trades. So yeah, all doing pretty well. GBP JPY trade, I'm happy with that. How'd you guys do on the GBP JPY trade? Anyone that was in here that took that trade? How did it work out for you? You missed the entry, Dave? That sucks, man. How about you, Tong? How did that work out? Not many people in the room today. What is it about Tuesdays that there's never people here on Tuesdays? You just closed it now? Oh, you got a 1.5 then, didn't you? Roughly. 1.5 is good. Ah, you entered late. 1-to-1? Is that the same for you, Tom? Oh, less than that? Okay. I'm not going to push the subject if it's less than that. That sucks. What is it with everyone's taking 1-to-1 or less? What's going on? It's fair enough, guys. I mean, I'm of the opinion that if you have a target, you should follow it. Orlando, you hit the nail on the head, man. You're letting fear decide when you should close out your trade, right? You're letting fear decide when you should close out your trade, and fear should never be a factor in closing your trades or entering your trades. Fear should not be a factor in your trading at all. Everything a trader does is about trying to eliminate fear. When you start becoming motivated by fear in your trading, just like being motivated by fear in anything in life, you're going to make mistakes. Don't let fear motivate your trades. Don't let fear make your decisions, your trading decisions. This trade, I mean, if I was still in it, I would probably hold on to it now. The first candle of the week gapped lower, pushed up, but now it looks like it's pushing lower. I would have held on to it. Had you held on to it, you probably could have got out at 1.5, or if your entry was a little bit late. Wow. No, sorry, there was just a siren going past. I was just waiting till it went. A siren going past. Sirens don't go past. Ambulances go past. So, yeah, if you held on, let's just say in theory, I don't know if this is where you exited, but let's say in theory you got out here, out of fear. You got out up there with a pretty crappy risk to reward ratio. Now, had you held on, you would have been able to get out here with a better risk to reward ratio. And very possibly, if you held on any longer, price could go down to here, or it could go down to here. And I know someone could argue my decision to exit because of the G7 meetings was motivated by fear, but it's a completely different thing. I've seen the impact that G7 meetings have, and it's a very real impact that they can have, because politicians leave these meetings, they talk to the media, they say stupid things, and you could end up with a 300 pip loss. That's about protecting my account. That's about protecting my capital. It's not really fear, it's just experience. But getting out just because price isn't going in your direction, that's fear, and you shouldn't do that. Anyway, let's get back on track, guys. Let's actually do some analysis instead of talking about last week's trade. Well, one of last week's trades anyway. Let's start with AUD CAD. We'll start at the top of the list. So what's going on with AUD CAD right now? Nothing much, really. Just it's come down to the support area. It started to bounce away, but it doesn't seem like it's quite making it. It looks like it's going back down. So we might see something like that, or it might just keep going down. It doesn't really matter. There's no potential setup that I see there right now. AUD/JPY, what's going on with AUD/JPY? Oh, it's got indecision forming at resistance. You know, you might look at this and say it's a good reversal setup, but I really don't like it. Preceding trend is just a complete mess. This preceding trend is just a mess. And look at this area, it's just all a mess. Price action is too messy. If I were to get in short, it would probably just do something like this for ages. Then I'd be holding a trade for 2 weeks, just doing that kind of stuff, only to go up or maybe to go down to my target. Totally not worth it. So yeah, this, nah, nothing going on here. I'm not gonna take any trade there. All right, AUD New Zealand, what's happening with AUD New Zealand? It's in between two support resistance areas. Just stuck in between two support resistance areas. So nothing there that I would want to trade. AUD USD. AUD USD is reversing from support. But it is currently in between areas, so nothing I would want to trade. CAD/JPY, I'm going to close that. I don't trade that pair. Well, I don't often trade it. Euro AUD. Yeah. In between areas. Get a feeling this is going to be a boring Tuesday, guys. Just forewarning. In between areas. Euro GBP. You know what I'm thinking? Because with these support resistance areas, I just threw them up on Euro GBP. I think in a recent webinar, we just threw them up in a rush. I'm adjusting the area. I always hate doing this in a webinar because a lot of people say that it's curve fitting. You know, when you pull down your areas just to be in line with current bounces. And in a way, I see what people, I see why people can think that. But also, sometimes I throw support resistance areas up in a hurry because price is nowhere close to the area. So I just like slap them up like bam, 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 done. And as price approaches the area, I then have a reason to refine the support resistance in that area. So now I'm refining it. I'm pulling it down to see if it fits in here. But as Ash is currently saying, he's kind of hit the nail on the head here. This pair is a mess, and it really is. It's hard to get support resistance on this pair. This one I had up here does seem pretty valid, but down here also seems pretty valid. It's just a complete mess. The truth is there's support resistance throughout this whole kind of messy area here. That being said, you know, that doesn't mean that there's not a potential trade here. There is still a potential trade. It's probably nothing I'm going to take because I don't really trust this resistance area. But it's still something that we can keep a close eye on. Price is stalling here. It's kind of close to a resistance area. You know, and if you drill down to the 8-hour chart, you really do start seeing the resistance popping out at you. See this here, that there, see that mess through there. On the 8-hour, it really starts to pop out. So there is some resistance here. Let's just keep a close eye on Euro GBP. Let's keep a close eye on it. Let me zoom in a bit. Keep a close eye on it, and let's just see what happens over here. You know, 90% chance this won't turn out to be anything that we would want to trade, but there's nothing wrong with keeping an eye on things. So what we do in a case like this, you move it to the top of your list and you watch it. You don't say to yourself, this is going to end up being a trade and I'm definitely going to jump in. It's just something to keep an eye on. No, I don't really trade Fibonacci. it can be mixed in with support resistance areas, and some people, there's actually an interesting topic on the forum right now. I can't remember what section it is in, but check out the forum, you'll see it. It's in one of the discussion sections, not the trade section, about, it could be the price action discussion section of the forum. No, you're not out of line, Orlando. This is an open chat, you can say what you want. So yeah, if you go over to the forum, there's an interesting discussion. I can't remember who started it, to be honest. I can't remember. But a few people in the forum have been talking about combining Fibonacci with my support resistance areas and finding good results. I think maybe it was Simon. But anyway, go check out the thread and or the topic, and yeah, throw in your input. Fibonacci is something interesting. At the end of the day, it's support resistance. There's also people mixing in Elliott wave with my strategy and showing very good results with that. So, you know, I'm open to anything that is price action. Fibonacci is technically price action. I'm not a big fan of Fibonacci. I'm just going to say it. Honestly, I'm not a big fan. I feel it's too... it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, Fibonacci. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I'm not saying that it doesn't work. So yeah, feel free to chat about it or to try and combine it. Let's throw up a support resistance area rather here on EuroJPY because it's pushing into new areas. All right, this one here is kind of obvious. Question is there one in between around about here based on this bounce? We got some evidence there, some evidence here, but is there really? Wick bounce there. I got some bounces through here, and it's a bit messy. I'm gonna place it. I'm just gonna place it. We'll just see what happens when price reaches the area. It's very close to it right now. We'll see if it stalls here. We'll just see what happens. I'm gonna place it. We'll keep a close eye on EuroJPY. It's approaching a potential resistance area based on several recent bounces, loads of wick bounces, wick bounce there, some body bounces through here. So it has a strong historical basis as a resistance area. So let's keep a close eye on EuroJPY. Let's see what happens when it approaches the 126.05. Also a psychological level there at the 126.00. So yeah, let's keep a close eye on that. Euro New Zealand. All right, Euro New Zealand, again, it's pushing up above. So we need a new resistance area. I'm going to place it based on that bounce and see if we can confirm it with other bounces. All right, it has another bounce there, has a bounce there. Price broke through it here, but it bounced twice through there. Yeah, look at that. It's very clearly a resistance area. So let's place resistance up there, and coincidentally, it's stalling there right now because that's how resistance works. So let's keep a close eye on Euro New Zealand too. None of these are potential setups. This is all just support resistance that we should keep an eye on. We looked at Euro CAD, right? Yeah, I think we did. Euro USD, what's going on with Euro USD? It's in between support resistance at the moment. So nothing much there. GBPAUD. Huh. Some of you guys were short on GBPAUD last week. Is that correct, or am I remembering this wrong? I think I called the long 2 weeks ago from here. Oh, no, sorry. Ash shared that long. Sorry, Ash, I wasn't trying to take credit. You shared that long to the forum. I took that long. Then it pushed up to here, and I think some of you guys took a short. Or am I remembering this wrong? From here. Because that short seems to have worked out. All right, well, no one's replying. I'm pretty sure people did take a long here on the forum. Oh, you did, Davor? Okay. There was a forum thread about it, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, let's... There's something interesting going on right now here. So obviously the overall trend of GBPAUD is a bullish one. I mean, GBP in general is just bullish at the moment. So overall trend of GBPAUD is a bullish one. And as you know, with continuation reversals, the general pattern is something like this. So you can get in at these points. Well, obviously not these ones because they're not sitting on support resistance, but this one and this one you can get in for long trades. Now we're seeing potentially something else here that's gonna do that kind of pattern, where it comes down, tests the support area, then continues trending in the direction of the original trend. So we're seeing a potential setup here, potential long trade. I'm not too confident in this because it does look like sellers are in control of price. It does look like they're pushing down, but it is something worth keeping an eye on. Also, the other problem with this is our resistance area up the top is a bit close. So we're probably going to get a crappy risk to reward ratio if we were to enter a trade here. It's just something worth keeping an eye on. There is a potential setup here. So it's an upcoming potential setup, but let's not get overly excited about this because very likely sellers are going to continue to push down. So let's just watch closely. And even if sellers don't continue to push down, it's going to be hard to get a good risk to reward ratio on something like this. So let's watch it closely, but don't get too excited about this. GBP JPY, well, we discussed this earlier. Short trade, it looks like it's still heading down, so there's not much potential to get into a trade now because it's in between support resistance and the short's already triggered. All right, GBP CAD, what's going on with GBP CAD? We need new support resistance. All right, that's definitely a resistance area. All right, GBP CAD, again, GBP is trending up across the board pretty much. GBP is trending up. It's also trending up with GBP CAD. We have a potential continuation reversal forming here. Hasn't hit the support area yet, so this is just something worth keeping an eye on in the coming days. Nothing to get terribly excited over. So let's just move it close to the top of the list and keep an eye on it. GBP CHF, I do not trade. GBP USD, it is just stuck on this resistance area, but it's just ranging. I'm not really interested in taking a trade there. I mean, I'm not saying that this type of setup is not a good setup. I'm just saying that I don't particularly like this kind of setup. So we obviously have sort of a wedge forming. It's not very obvious on the higher time frames, but on the 4 hour we can kind of see that wedge forming. It's not like a great wedge, but the point is it is ranging, and it is kind of like the range is getting tighter and tighter. So very possibly it's going to break out at some point, but these are not the types of setups that I really like. I don't find them to be high probability, so I don't really like trading them. So New Zealand CAD, what's going on with New Zealand CAD? It is in between two support resistance areas. Nothing much. New Zealand JPY. I'd say that the bearish trend is broken on New Zealand JPY. Wait, some of you guys were in a short on New Zealand JPY. I missed it. I missed that trade. Or was it a long? It was a long, sorry. Some of you guys were in a long yesterday. Let's see how that's going now. You're still in it, Ash? Definitely slowed down. Did I share a short last week on New Zealand JPY? Can't remember. Anyway, this is, I mean, it's a decent setup, no doubt about that. When I saw it on the forum, I was definitely thinking, oh, I should have entered that. But it's not, it's kind of stalled out here. which, I think I spoke to you about, I mentioned this on the forum yesterday. I gave you guys just a little bit of analysis on this. It's no surprise that it's stalling here. This has obviously been a messy area in the past. First thing you do when you enter a trade is you look to the left. What you see on the left is very likely to repeat itself. And it is repeating itself right now. This area here, where price just stalled out for ages, we're kind of seeing it again. It's stalling out. But, you're in the trade. You can't exit after just a few candles worth of stalling. Yeah, obviously it's a different direction, Stevie, but it's the same kind of like, what I mean by repeating itself, I just mean the stalling. The stalling is repeating itself. Yeah, man, Bob, I don't close out trades just because it's not going in my direction right away. That's, for me personally, that's not how trading works. Just because it doesn't go in your direction. Again, what we were talking about at the start of this webinar, that's a fear-motivated decision. Exiting the trade right now is motivated by fear. You fear that it's not going to hit your target. You fear that it's going to hit your stop loss, so you close out a trade early. But overall, what we're seeing is not that bad. It's a single daily candle. This was taken on the 12-hour, so let's stick to the 12-hour. So what are we seeing on the 12-hour? We're seeing one candle showing indecision, one candle with both a higher high and a lower low, and now this new candle is showing signs of pushing up, it's showing signs of buyers in control. It's just ranging here a little bit. There's no... I'm not saying to you stay in, it's going to work out, because I can't know that. No one can know that. I'm just saying that overall, over the course of your next 100 trades, if you get into the habit of closing out early every time it stalls for 1 or 2 candles, it's going to hurt your trading overall. This specific trade, if we wait another 4 days till we see the end of this trade, 4 days is probably going to, there's probably going to be a resolution to this trade in the next 4 days. If we wait 4 days and see the end of this trade, you could then say to yourself, yeah, had I closed out here, I wouldn't have taken a loss here. It wouldn't have hit my stop loss down here. So for this specific trade, it would have been good to close out here. But it's never about one specific trade in Forex trading. It's about 100 trades. It's about 1,000 trades. So if you get into the habit of closing your trades out early every time they stall for a bit, what's going to happen over your next 1,000 trades? 50, 60%, even 70% of those trades, because very few trades just go bam, direct to your target. So you're looking at 50, 60, 70% of your trades are going to be closed out with a risk to reward ratio of like 0.8. So when I say that, what I mean is your stop loss is 1 and your target is 0.8. Your target is 1, your target is 1.2. So your average win is going to end up being 1, your average loss is going to end up being 1, and you're just sabotaging yourself. You're not going to end up being a profitable trader. Don't get too wrapped up in the fate of one trade. It's one trade. It's one trade in the 1,000, in the 2,000 that you're going to take over the next few years. So this one trade doesn't mean anything. If it fails, if it hits your stop loss, it hits your stop loss. But you don't want to get into the habit of closing your trades out early just because they stall for a single candle or for 2 candles. How long do you stay in a trade? It depends. It's very dependent on the trade itself. Not every trade is the same. You have to judge each trade on its on what's happening with that specific trade, on what's happening at the moment, what day of the week is it. Is there any very, very high impact news coming out? There's a lot of factors. I can't say how long you're going to stay in any specific trade. But closing out right now, it's a bit too early. Bit too early to closing out right now. let's check the news real quick. I want to see what's coming up that could affect this. Oh damn it! 1 sec. I just need to. I'm just gonna reset my time on Forex Factory because it's changed back to the default time. So today we have New Zealand PPI input. PPI input could obviously affect this trade. So it's a high impact release, but you know, we're looking at a 12-hour time frame, so I wouldn't be too concerned about that. I mean, I'm not saying it's not going to cause anything, but I'm just saying it's not a reason to close out the trade. Might be a reason to tighten your target a little bit, tighten your stop loss even, not your target. Wednesday, there's nothing that can really affect this trade. Thursday, you're clear. Yeah, I wouldn't say there's any. I wouldn't say there's any reason to exit. If you exit now, it's gonna be because of fear. Does everyone understand what I'm saying with this? That if you make a fear-based decision, it's going to affect you because you're going to get into the habit of doing that. Not many people are talkative today. We got Bob, Davor, Tong, Stevie. Dario said a few things, Orlando. There's so many of you in here. Well, it seems like most of you agree. And those of you who are saying nothing, I'm going to assume you agree, because it's easier that way, isn't it? So let's keep going with the analysis and let's finish this thing up. We've only got a few pairs left. New Zealand USD. What's going on with New Zealand USD? It's just messy. New Zealand has been so messy of late. Yeah, there's nothing really I would want to trade here. Looks like it's trending down still, so it's probably going to continue down from here, but I don't see any clean setup that I'd want to take. You know, I'm looking to the left. Like I say, you always look to the left. You look to the left and it's just a complete mess. No thanks. Not interested. USD CAD. Nah, nothing really there. Ooh, USD CHF. Talk about missed opportunities. I decided not to get into this one last week because I can't remember why. There was a reason. It was a good reason. Bam, straight down. But I did share this trade with you guys, and I think a lot of you took it, right? I've just adjusted the support area. It's clearly better down here. This is another thing with trading. You know, I skipped this trade. I had my reasons to skip it, and it turned out working out really well. And it's easy for me to remember situations like this, where I've decided to skip it, and had I got in, it would have worked out really well. But I don't remember all those times I decided to skip a trade, and the trade wouldn't have worked out. Because as humans, we always kind of remember, we like to remember when we screw up, not when we do something right. So you look at this and you say, shit, if I got into that trade, I would have made a lot of profit. But I could have skipped another 5 trades over the past month that would have ended up failing. And because I skipped them, I've saved myself from a failed trade. And I don't really remember those. But this one I'll remember. I'll remember this one for weeks because it's such a good setup that I skipped. There's another thing that you have to combat as a trader. And when you skip a trade, you just add it to your journal.
You see what I mean? Like, you put it in your journal. You write down in your journal, I skipped this trade. This is why I skipped this trade. Adrian, I can't remember why I skipped it. I wrote it on the forum. I don't have my journal handy right now, so I can't remember why I skipped it. But I'm pretty sure the discussion is there on the forum. It was discussed at length on the forum, or it's in one of my previous webinars. I explain why I skipped it. There you go, Stevie's telling you. But I go into more detail on the forum, I believe. But you need to write these down. So when you skip a trade, right? When you skip a trade because it just doesn't feel right for you, whatever the case is for you skipping that trade, write down why you skipped that trade in your journal, because then you have a list of trades you skipped and the eventual result of that trade. So in my journal, this is going to go down as a winning trade that I skipped. But then I've also recorded all the trades I skipped that failed. So now I'm not going to forget that anymore because it's written down. Well, I'll forget it, but when I'm looking at my stats at the end of the year, I'll see, hey, I skipped 200 trades this year. But that's a bit high, but let's say just an easy number. Let's say I skipped 100 trades this year. 10 of those 100 trades ended up being profitable, but 90 of them ended up being, would have ended up hitting the stop had I entered. So overall, skipping those trades, my assessment of trades and my reasons for skipping trades overall have made me lose less, if that makes sense. So, in your journal, just don't record only the trades you take. Record any setup you see that you then skip because of whatever reason. Because again, it's important data. Anyway, USDJPY. Let's look at USDJPY. Just messing about in between support resistance areas. So nothing much. So yeah, it's kind of a boring day today. And we have a potential setup on GBPAUD. This is just something to watch closely. A potential bullish setup. Very likely this is not going to turn into anything. Risk to reward ratio wise, it just doesn't look like it's going to be that great. We might pull off at 1.5. Maybe if we enter on a retrace. I think this might have to be a retrace entry just to make it profitable. So yeah, it might be a setup, but I wouldn't really get excited about this. But then we have a lot of things to watch because they are approaching resistance or support. So Euro GBP is approaching a strong resistance area. Keep a close eye on this one, the 0.8610. Well, I say strong resistance area, but it's actually not a strong resistance area. I'm sorry. It's a very messy resistance area, but it is approaching it. Keep a close eye on it. Euro JPY is approaching a decent resistance area. At the 1.2605. It's also a psych level, so keep a close eye on that. GBP CAD, why did we move this to the top? Oh yeah, GBP CAD is approaching a support area and could give us a continuation reversal. So keep a close eye on that. The support area, let me adjust this up just a touch. Support area is the 1.7455, so keep a close eye. And Euro New Zealand, so probably not going to trade this. But that's approaching a resistance area up at the 1.6130. So again, keep a close eye on that one. Thanks for watching the analysis. I hope it was useful. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button below. Also, for instant notifications when I post analysis or other cool videos, subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking the subscribe button below. Once the setups I share in this analysis trigger, I post live updates as I manage the trade, such as my entry, exit, stop, and when to get out of the trade. For these updates, add me on Facebook or Twitter by clicking the buttons below. I'll see you in the next video.